Mula-mula dia macam ni, mula-mula dia saya tahu dia kena barang tu. Mula-mula saya tak tahu. Cun dekat kampung ni mau buat gawai time tu, mau buat rami apa. Saya ketoroyong. Saya punya bini duduk rumah. Dia demam saja. Tiba-tiba dia tak mau tengok api pun dia tidak mau. Bagi minum pun dia tidak mau. Bagi makan pun tidak mau. Dia tengok saya pun takut. Cuma dia mau dengan mak dia saja. Lala bini saya panggil saya. Apa hal budak tu macam tu? Lepas tu saya cari itu kereta. Cun saya pergi, nasib kawan saya ada dekat sinilah. Itu nama dia. Saya orang panggil dia Tambi lah. Tu yang tolong saya. Kawan boleh tolong saya kah? Apa hal? Pergi klinik. Anak saya sakit. Boleh dia cakap. Hantar pergi hospital Serian. Lepas tu dia orang tinggal. Dah lah fikir saya. Lepas tu diam saya dengan kawan saya balik rumah. Hati saya tak senang lah. Lepas tu siang hari lagi.
In my personal opinion, though I've heard about the rabies case here in our kampong, while I was still working, and at the time I was in Putrajaya, I heard about it and I felt very sorry, felt very bad about it, and I considered this as a very serious disease to consider, to be looked into, because it is very deadly and it spreads very fast. And furthermore, it is spread by animals. When diseases are spread by animals, like the disease spread by birds, chicken, now dogs, and dogs has very wide area of coverage if they were to travel.
Dekat tu kan hari tu petang tu saya bawa dia tu pergi rumah mak saya sana. Saya tak tahu anjing tu ada penyakit. Saya pikir dia penyakit tu biasa aja. Saya bawa, lepas tu tahulah anak anjing kah tu yang ikut belakang dia tu. Tiba-tiba dia gigit macam ni, dia macam curi-curi dekat sini dia. Dia ni tu demam. Saya pikir dia demam biasa, lama demam seminggu lebih tak bye-bye demam dia. Lepas tu lain tu dia macam lain. Saya bawa dia pergi klinik Peridan cakap dia bagi ubat saja. Lepas tu masih belum lagi demam dia tu bagus.
That time I was still in service towards my final year of service. I was at SK Koran, but I served also in the Kampong AJKK. The incident to me was a very unfortunate case because it involved two siblings from my kampong. That time rabies was so new to Sarawak. Nobody expect dogs to come out with rabies. There were some dogs with strange characters, but some people say, oh, it's distemper. Nobody think that the dog had the rabies virus. It was new to Sarawak, I believe, at that time. So when it happened, I think the people don't expect it to be a serious disease. Bitten by dog, nobody also spread around that, oh, so-and-so is bitten by dog.
When I first arrived to work in Sarawak back in 1994, one of the first questions I asked the local doctors when I arrived in Sarawak to start working in Sarawak, one of the first questions I asked was that does is rabies a problem in Sarawak? And I asked quite a number of doctors, including those senior doctors who have worked in public hospitals in Sarawak for a long time. And the answer has always been no such cases. And rabies was not the answer I got was that the rabies have never been a problem in Sarawak. So yeah, so up to July 2017, I have never seen a case before. In fact, what we had in 2017 was my first cases of rabies that I have encountered. We understand and we remember the pair of siblings from Kampung Paon Ribun very well, because it was a very sad story, a tragedy, not only to the family, it's to the whole community, that a family lose two children more or less at the same time to rabies.
Saya berkeliling dekat tu hospital tu, saya nampak anak saya. Tidak mau dia nampak saya. Ai, udah ni. Susah hati saya. Lepas tu tak senang hati saya, balik lagi saya. So saya pergi sana. Saya tengok, saya tanya itu nurse, mana anak saya sini? Oh, sudah kirim dekat Kuching. Itu memang direct lah saya pergi Kuching. Tidak sabar lagi bang. Hati tak senang, semua tak senang. Lepas tu saya jumpa emak dia. Mana budak? Dekat ICU. Sudah kena jack bius. Tengok, perhati dia. Air mata saya pun sudah keluar, tidak tahan lagi. Lepas tu doktor tu cakap dengan saya, Mazlan dia cakap, kamu boleh masuk sana. Tengok anak kamu. Saya tengoklah dia, tengok. Air mata saya pun keluar. Semua sudah hos, semua badan dia semua tu dah tak sedarkan diri. Macam orang cakap, macam orang meninggal sudah.
Minum air pun tak tu. Macam yang tersendat-sendat dekat ni sini dia kan. Dia nak minum macam ni. Mandi pun tak mau dia. Takut dia dengan api pun dia takut. Tapi dulu yang laki tak ada. Tapi hanya masa kami bawa dia yang Jackson tu, masa kami bawa dekat hospital tu macam ganas-ganas dia nak keluar kah? Liur dia macam ni keluar liur dia. Yang perempuan tu lain dekat hospital hari itu. Dia macam cakap dia tu macam yang ganas-ganas macam tu lah. Tak mau tengok doktor yang dekat situ hari itu. Lari kamu cakap cikgu dia lah. Cakap cikgu dia tu jahat. Suruh saya berlari, dia cakap macam tu, dia cakap.
So what happens when someone gets rabies is that if they are bitten by any of these infected animals or a scratch even, the virus infects the site of that bite or scratch and replicates somewhat minimally at that point. And then for whatever reason, over time, the virus moves through the spinal cord and ends up eventually in the brain and causes a lot of neurologic or brain disorders. And that's the typical symptoms or advanced symptoms that we see when someone is already infected in the brain. Now, from the time of getting bitten to the time in which you actually show symptoms of rabies, it can vary from a few weeks to a year. But typically, it will be anywhere between 1 to 3 months. Very general symptoms, almost flu-like symptoms. So fatigue, malaise, weakness. And as the brain gets more severely infected, then you start to see more neurological disorders. So you get confusion, seizures, and then what is typically well known now with the general public is hydrophobia, or the fear of water. Yeah, so patients who exhibit this kind of disorders will refuse to take water You also have very rare instances of aerophobia, can also be another a symptom where drafts of fresh air can upset the patient. Now, in very advanced stages, they may go into paralysis and eventual coma. And once symptoms shows, the likelihood of anyone surviving is extremely low.
Dokter cakap kena rabies anjing. Dia punya gigi itu, dia punya air liur, Pak.
Anjing yang gigit anak uncle tu, anjing peliharaan uncle atau?
Bukan, anjing orang.
Dekat mana kejadian?
Dekat rumah nu sebelah sini. Tiba saya kerja dengan dia itu hari, Pak. Dia kena gigit tu, dia itu kawan saya bagi dia roti pau. Dia mau makan anjing tu ngap dekat sini dia.
Maksudnya anjing tu memang dah sakit lah, mungkin owner dia.
Mungkin dah sakit kita tak tahu, Pak. Sebab time tu kita tak tahu penyakit rabies, Pak.
Serian tuh, kan dekat emergency kami lama hari itu. Yang laki itu seminggu ke berapa hari kan dia dekat word masuk word. Yang lelaki itu lepas tu lain-lain tengok dia lain-lain. Lepas tu dia muntah macam tengok macam muntah dia macam darah pun bukan juga aja macam kacang tuh, biji kacang yang merah tuh. Tuh dia. Lepas tu saya bagi tahu dokter apa dia muntah lain saya cakap. Lepas tu dia X-ray tuh dia bagi X-ray. Lepas X-ray baru dia tuh ke rumah dekat kucing. Tengok dia lain. Makan ubat pun tak mau dia. Tak mau telan macam tu.
The boy, a week later, the sister, straight away I realized that this is something very, very unusual that I have never seen before, after working so long in Sarawak. And I knew something is wrong, but I could not pinpoint what could have been the reasons. And very quickly, because of the geographical proximity between the kampong of these sets of siblings and this particular girl, straight away we make a connection. And very quickly, we return to the parents of the pair of siblings, and to find out if they were bitten by the dog as well. And when the mother told us that they were indeed, including the mother herself, were bitten by the puppies, and straight away. So we put it's like the last piece of the puzzles. We managed to find the last piece of puzzle. Everything just the whole picture had been completed. So this is how we make the diagnosis of rabies.
Yang saya ingatnya tuh yang menikah tuh suka nasi goreng. Dia nasi goreng campur daun cangkok. Itu aja dia minum, tak macam-macam dia tuh. Apa yang kita masak, makan aja dia. Ada hari itu saya bawa yang perempuan tuh, dia pikul kayu api. Mau dia tuh. Kalau kita suruh mau dia.
Berapa tahun umur?
Dulu 6 yang perempuan tuh 6, Monica tuh 6. Yang Jackson tuh 4.
Dah daftar terika kan pasal tu?
Dah daftar dah yang Jackson tuh.
I think, rabies has been around for many, many years, for decades. And there's not been a cure yet. But you have vaccines, right? I think awareness plays a very important role. And that's why this documentary that TVS is producing together with IBET is very, very important to spread the word about how rabies can be a very difficult and fatal disease to the community. So awareness is the biggest thing. More people need to be aware and take preemptive actions. You know, you can have simple actions in your daily life, walking to your car, making sure there are no dogs underneath your car. A lot of bite cases happen that way. Or being aware of your surroundings, especially when animals are present.
How do we know which one has rabies? So that's why the agency that is set by government, now they call it the UKPS, Unit Kawalan dan Penguatkuasaan. And I really praise the government for that, because with their team going around to the kampong, because most kampong people, they will have dogs in their house, at least one dog, their hunting dog, or some keep as pet dogs.
Saya mau pesan anjing ni sebetulnya bagus juga jaga rumah. Tapi kalau jaga anjing ni dipantau lah, sebetulnya dipantau Pak. Jangan membabitkan orang lain lagi Pak. Sebab kita sudah tahu Pak. Cuma itu saja pesan saya.
I bet is a good, very, very positive action by the government to form IBET. The few hundred IBET officers going around in the launching and to curb the disease in a way, whatever disease probably later on. So they all go out, and with the veterinary themselves, they have also jadwal calendar in the calendar whereby they go to kampong to give vaccine to kampongs and to tell the kampong people about the disease. So to me, it's a very positive thing the government is doing, and should be fully supported.
Well, as we know, rabies is 100% preventable. It is completely preventable. Now, first thing is that even you get, first thing is that rabies is different from other kinds of the infectious disease. That even you get infected, but as long as the virus remains in the muscle and has not reached the brain, it is still you still have a good window or a good time period that we can do something to prevent a loss in life. So it's 99% preventable as long as the person who get bitten, seek treatment as early as possible.
So my hope would be that if we were forced to live with rabies for a rather long time before we finally eliminate rabies altogether and get back our rabies-free status in Sarawak, would be that there would be sufficient awareness in the community to prevent cases of fatal rabies. And if we manage to achieve that, I think that would be very good for the state.
Yang saya ingatnya tuh yang menikah tuh suka nasi goreng, nasi goreng campur daun cangkok, itu aja dia tak macam-macam dia tuh, apa yang kita masak makan aja.
Dokter tuh cakap dengan saya, Mazlan kamu boleh masuk sana tengok anak. Saya tengok air mata saya pun keluar. Semua sudah haus, semua badannya semua tu sudah tak sadarkan diri. Macam orang cakap, macam orang meninggal sudah.